All right, you're all set, Jacob.
Great, thanks. Welcome, everyone. It's great to be with you all again. This is our last day of the live sessions in our Building Bridges virtual showcase. And we're really thrilled to have you here and excited to hear from our presenter today, Michelle St. Martin. And just a couple of housekeeping. We've got everyone on mute for now with no videos. And we are recording, and this is also being cast to Facebook. We do also have closed captioning through a live transcript, so you're welcome to access that. And my name is Jacob Carter, and I'm based out of the Partnership for Worker Education, which is a part of human resources here at UMass Amherst. And we're just really happy to have everyone here. This has been really remarkable series of events, and we have two wonderful events that are happening today as well. And so we're really looking forward to this closing day of our virtual showcase. So let me just tell you what we're going to be up to today. So we'll start, as we have always been doing, with a land acknowledgement. We'll do just a brief Building Bridges and Showcase overview. Make sure you know how to use the website. Get you over there. And then we'll hear from Michelle St. Martin. So to start off with our land acknowledgement, we've been beginning all of our events by acknowledging that UMass stands on Nonotuck land. And we'd also like to acknowledge our neighboring Indigenous nations, the Nipmuc and Wampanoag to the east, Mohegan and Pequot to the south, Mohican to the west, and the Abenaki to the north. And this is a land acknowledgement that was created by by 5 colleges, Native American and Indigenous Studies. So I'd like to just thank them for sharing that. And Building Bridges and programming, we're really committed to honoring this truth, and we're designing programming in the fall, both to raise awareness about current issues in our state and offer a space for dialogue for folks to learn about and really unlearn a lot of history. And with the historic decision to change the Massachusetts state flag, as well as the state seal, it's an important time for all of us to be considering these land acknowledgements and also the Native and Indigenous folks who still live here today. And so we're thankful to be able to have this space to provide this land acknowledgement. And Building Bridges, as many of you know, is a UMass Public Art and Engagement Initiative here on campus, and it draws on the power of solidarity and creative expression to bring people together and create a bridge across difference. And we've been doing the work since 2017, and really inviting people together who typically wouldn't be in the same room, typically not in the same space because of different power hierarchies and silos here on campus, and using that creative process and dialogue to get to know each other, provide support for each other, and then also share back important messages and calls to action for the campus community. And we have 4 core projects. We have the Our Immigrant Voices, we have the Showcasing Worker Artists at UMass, we have the Building Bridges cards and installations, and then we have Worker Rights is Human Rights. That one is a collaboration with the UMass Labor Center. And we really try to have a variety of formats. So we have courses for workers, also sometimes with students and workers. We have exhibitions, we have special events to bring people together. Oftentimes we install artwork or part of our creative work in buildings so that you can encounter them in your day-to-day activities. We have films and lunches and trainings. We had a really active year, pandemic year, so really more like 18 months, doing everything virtually. And we had lots of different events, courses were going on. We'll be continuing to do courses in the fall and spring, so I encourage you to stay tuned and sign up for those courses. We have a lot of collaborators. These are just the collaborators from this last semester, from the spring. And really, this is it's an important part of the initiative, is that we work with a lot of different groups on campus to bring programming and courses and to really join together for this important cause. And today's showcase and the entire showcase has been organized by this team of worker artists. And this is a group that's been in our worker artists class and has been planning. They have been planning this. Michelle St. Martin, Lisa Korpieski, Wayne Gagnon, Malini Sinha, Lonnie Edwards, Sarah Jarman, Donna Vanas, and Joe Connolly. So I just want to give a huge thank you to this group. We also have a working group that supports building bridges and has also been instrumental in helping to think about programming and also get the word out. And so big thanks. And I've been doing this week, which is really just to highlight, the UMass frontline workers. Many of them have been on campus since campus closure. And at the very beginning of the campus closure, we just put together this campaign called Show Some Love for UMass Frontline Workers. And we wanted to make sure that folks knew that they were on site working, but not out of sight from us. And we actually asked frontline workers, what can UMass do to show support and solidarity with you? So they shared their answers with us, and then we in turn reached out to folks and then put together messages in several different languages that are spoken here on campus, just to share that back. And a lot of folks have already started to transition back to on-campus work. There's a very large group of folks that are going to be moving back onto campus for on-campus work next week. We know that it's still a really challenging time for a lot of people, and that the transition brings up a lot of new challenges and stress as well. And so we're here, Partnership for Worker Ed is here to support you. When you come back to campus, we will have classes and one-time sessions and support for you. So keep in touch, let us know what we can do to support your transition back to campus. And I look forward to also, seeing a lot of you when I'm back on campus more full-time as well. And before we move over to the website, the Showcase website, I just wanted to highlight again that this is a collaboration between our office, that's the Partnership for Worker Education, the Office of Equity and Inclusion, and Civic Engagement and Service Learning. And so what I'd like to do now is actually take you over to our Showcase website. So for those of you who have not yet been to the website, I really encourage you to get over and check it out. And if you have been, I would encourage you to go again, because we have a new gallery. Even as of yesterday, we put up the Our Immigrant Voices gallery so that you can see all the Our Immigrant Voices projects on the page here. So this is our 2021 Showcase webpage. Inspire and be inspired is really what we're doing here. And that really, someone said that in one of our classes, and it became something that we talked about over the entire last 18 months. It's just that how when people come together and share their true self and share their creativity and support other people, that's inspiring. And then they in turn are inspired when other people reciprocate that support and solidarity and love. And we have more than 70 people, UMass staff members, including alumni, that are featured here. This is all the week 1 schedule, and week 2, all of these sessions are now live on Facebook. You can check them out. Last night we had a session with Andrew Sarah that was hosted by Lisa Korpieski and co-hosted by Lonnie Edwards. So special thanks to all of you for helping to bring Andrew's session to us. And then today, obviously, we have Michelle St. Martin, and this session's also being co-hosted by Lisa. And tonight at 8 p.m., we have Lisa Korpieski and Sarah Jarman, and they're gonna be doing gel printing demystified, be showing us some really particular techniques. And then we're gonna close out with some fireworks that Michelle recorded. And that'll be a really nice way to go out with a lot of bangs. So make sure you sign the guest book. If you haven't already, this is a really nice way to just leave a message for the artists and let them know how much you appreciate their work. there's a list of all the folks, all the artists and makers here. You can click on someone's name. It'll take you down to a gallery here. To see who's in the gallery, you can click on this little button right here, navigate to different sections. And then this opens up all the people in this gallery, and you can scroll through and you can look. And then if you want to dive into someone's work, you can click on their picture. It says Joanne Keller. Over here, you can see the arrow. This lets you see their artist statement. Then you can also see, these are some of the pictures that she's taken. And here's Lisa, and you can move forward. Again, artist statement. If you don't know how to put it in full screen, you want to figure out how to get it in full screen, because it's also a lot better. See these 4 arrows right here. That allows you to put it in full screen, and then you can really get the full experience of the galleries. So we encourage you to check out the galleries. If you've already checked them out, go check it out again, because we've added new work. Yesterday, we added in our 2021 Our Immigrant Voices projects, and we actually also included last year's project as well. So you can see both this year's and last year's project in this one gallery. And with that, we are going to invite Michelle to join us. Michelle.
Hi.
Hi, nice to see you. Thanks so much for joining us today.
It's great to be here. Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle St. Martin, and I work for the Physical Plant second shift at night as a maintainer. And I'm here today to talk a little bit about my photography and my writing. My creativity in general started at a young age. While I won't be sharing any of my writing with you guys today, my most recent writing is a children's book. It's got a cast of unusual characters, and my idea for this came from my work, and it took off from there. I was ready to submit it to a publisher, then COVID hit. Getting back to regrouping, and I'm writing a sequel to the first one with a few new characters, and it's really exciting for me to be creating again. The first photo that I'm going to show is a picture of my workspace. During COVID, I did a lot of organizing. So Jacob is helping me put up some of my photos and helping me along with my presentation. So this is my workspace. It's kind of small. It's where I do my editing and my writing and my computer work. And during COVID, I had a chance to do a lot of organizing. So now it has a semblance of order. The bookcase, which is the next photo, is filled with a lot, that's not the bookcase, but that's okay. That's the bookcase. It's filled with a lot of reference guides. I have like the whole set of the National Audubon guides that I use for reference, because if I go out in the field, say I'm taking a hike, I can't identify something, I photograph it, and then I come home and I look it up, and then I learn about it. The top shelf are portfolios of various size photos and art prints I make for framing. The larger shelves, which was the second photo, contain photographs and photos for my greeting cards, photo magnets, and miscellaneous photo equipment. I started my interest in photography when I was around 10 years old. I borrowed my dad's Kodak Brownie box camera. It was an old film camera that took 1/17 roll film. Obviously, we don't see that around anymore. When my dad switched to a Kodak 104 Instamatic, I played with that too. I was always borrowing. That took a cartridge film. and use those little flash cubes. Anybody out there remember those little flash cubes? I then made the jump to a Pentax manual film camera, and then a more automatic camera, and finally to the Pentax K5 DSLR that I use now. I refer to this as my big camera. I use my my iPhone for a lot of my stuff too. Technology's come a long way since I started out. I held out on getting into digital by saying, back then, our phones were only like 5 megapixels on the camera. They were really shoddy. Really, the technology was just starting to evolve. So I used to say that I wouldn't go to digital from film until it was 24 megapixels. And then I'd change over. Of course, that time is come and gone. I'm now looking to update my current one, and I confess I have gotten lazy, and I use my iPhone camera for a lot of my current compositions, but it does just fine. It's no match though against my big camera, my DSLR, for things like macro, which is the next photo. And you can't do a bead justice by using a cell phone. And then the next one would be, the eclipse that I got of the moon a couple years back. Again, it's not something that you can do with a small camera. So the new one that I'm looking at is 36 megapixels, which is more than double my phone or my big camera. So it's going to be quite an upgrade for me. As far as influences, I've been influenced by a lot of famous artists and photographers, and I gravitate toward artists whose works are realism, like Edward Hopper or Gerald Lubbock, who I found actually his art because it was something I liked and I bought. But they painted in a photorealism fashion, which is their paintings look like photographs. And I'm really drawn to that concept. This was one of Gerald Lubbock's photos. And it looks like a photograph. It actually looks like one of my photographs that looks exactly like that. And this is a painting, which totally amazes me. And the next one I have hanging, this is the one I purchased. I have this hanging over my sink, and it's really, his work is really amazing. I think he did a lot of his work from photographs. So that really, it just really struck me. My most favorite artist though is Maxfield Parrish. And his illustrations are really bright and dreamy. And this next photo, it's one of mine to look like, try to imitate Parrish. The photographers that I gravitate towards are, of course, the light master, Ansel Adams, Mapplethorpe, Alfred Stieglitz, Mary Ellen Mark, and many others too numerous to even name. The next photo it's really special to me because it's my local muse was Les Campbell, and he was an awesome photographer and a great man. He recently just passed at 95. I did a few photography intensives with him at his Sky Meadow studio in Belchertown, and he did amazing work. And he did documenting the Quabbin Reservoir, and this is a photo he took that I loved and I purchased from him. To get a feel for what photography is really like, I also took darkroom courses at HCC. And the best example I can give of my nonconformity, also known as doing my own thing, was the instructor said that our final of 6 photos could be anything but nothing cutesy like puppies or kittens. I took the series of my late cat, developed them, framed them, and presented them as my final. when he saw them, I could tell he was less than pleased. He later admitted to me that I did a great job of portraying my cat's day in the life series. He did, however, give me a B+. I think I would have gotten an A had I picked another subject. And while, not a technical person, I'm not, I'm just not a technical person. I got the basics down early and went from there. I'm kind of like a musician who doesn't read music. I kind of play it by ear. I know what result I wish for, visualize it, and try to capture that image. I want you to see what I do, and many times I see what most people do not intentionally. This next photo is absolutely one of my favorites. It's a picture of an indigo bunting, and it's singing its heart out up on that branch. And there's a ruby-throated hummingbird below it. And it appears to be taking in the concert. I love that photo. The next photos are sometimes it's being in the right place at the right time. This was somebody that was practicing doing acrobatics with their plane, and the moon was there, and I just happened to be there at the right time. And the next photo is actually, I took this off of part of the fireworks that you'll be seeing at the end of the showcase tonight. And I kind of played with it, and I really like that image. It kind of looks like a flower. You'll not find many people in my photos unless I'm taking them for memories of friends and family. I only have people in my photos for scale. Otherwise, they're more or less absent. My biopic is one such example. I'm not fond of the picture, but it shows how large the frame photo is. Once I finally made my way into the digital world, I liked it. I still miss the thrill of working in a dark room and seeing the photo come to life in front of me. It does afford do-overs, more than film, which once you took it, that was it. Digital does make it easier to get the right shot. My next photo is basically, I like to, my main objective is to tell a story without words. And I think this little doggy's paws with the dandelion of reminding us to smell the flowers is one of them. The next photo is, it's a few examples of my creative silliness, actually. This is Strawberry, and it's spelled B-E-A-R-Y. It's actually a real strawberry. And I made its eyes and nose from peppercorns. And it just worked with the, the two of them together. It looked like a little tie. And although my mother taught me not to play with food, I can't resist. And hash brown, which is the next one. It's just a weird shaped potato, but hash brown's whimsical look was that this was the holidays and he was waiting for Santa. Give him eyes and it comes alive. Here's the setup, next picture, with cookies for Santa. And I love taking pictures of food almost as much as I like eating it. I like to experiment and push what's considered the standard. And the next photo kind of shows that with lots of abstract. Basically, this photo is, if you look at it long enough, it looks like there's a face in there, but actually, if you turn the photo to the side, you'll see it's just a reflection in a pond. Shapes are another fun thing to do, and I like to do that too. I play with it all. This next picture was a heart, and it was only a cutout, and I put something red behind it, and I made it look as you see it. The next photo was the circle is the French King Bridge rail, and I the next one, I framed the library with a diamond cutout in the railing at Draper Hall. So there are many opportunities for me to get creative everywhere. A lot of it's just having to, look for things. The walls in my home are filled with my work, and I need a bigger place. Anyone can help me with that? Here's some magnets I made of some of my favorite snaps, what I call the fridge gallery. These are all over my refrigerator, and it was a compromise to framing them all. And the sunflower I submitted for this year's showcase is such a colorful piece. It's a 16 by 20, and it would brighten up any room. Such as that we're not meeting in person. I may include it again when it can be shown in its glory. And I've come a long way since first starting out. There's a family joke about my pointing to a micro dot of a subject saying, "See the rabbit? Can you see that rabbit in this picture? It's right there near that bush." Now there's no doubt to what you're looking at unless it's one of my abstracts for individual interpretation. And just one of the things that was really cool that I found out later on looking through the family photos is that my father really documented my childhood really well. And he was a photographer himself, and he had a good eye. I think that's where I got it from. And he was he did a lot of things like series, like I do. He does the same thing. And I saw this later on, but he really did have an eye. And I think a lot of the stuff that he did, it's like mine. So it's really, really kind of cool. I didn't show you this earlier when I was talking about it, but these are some of the art prints that I do. And I do various ones that are, there's a sunflower. I made fun with that one, and the daisy. So lastly, the last photo actually is the most recent one. And I took this Monday night of the wildfire smoke sunset. And I think it's a fitting way to end my presentation. I really enjoyed sharing my work with you, how I got here, my process, and my photos. And thank you all for being here. Also, I'd like to give a huge shout out to Jacob for his tireless work on our behalf, and all of the other people that helped, like Lisa and Lonnie and everybody else that helped put this together.
Wow, thank you so much, Michelle. That was a really spectacular walk through your, your photography, and to hear about your writing also in the beginning. Thinking about already coming up with a sequel, and it's really touching to hear. Also just kind of the really personal elements of your own evolution as a photographer, and drawing on your father's work. And when you mentioned the flash cubes, a number of people in the comments said, "Oh yeah, now about the flip flash too," and then there are just lots of comments that have been coming in. I can't even go through all of them, but a lot of really supportive comments about loving the photos. Donna said Les Campbell's son was in my class in Belchertown.
Oh, wow. Small world.
Yeah. So the local connection, and also hearing, about your own learning. Personally, I think that it should have been an A, right? If it was just about the subject matter.
Yeah. He was persnickety.
Yeah. you know, love the birds. The fireworks do look like a flower. Lisa says, you're truly gifted. What an eye you have. Elise also mentioned something similar. There was a question from Karen about photoshopping photos. You know, do you Photoshop? How much do you Photoshop photos to get effects that you want?
The only thing I do with photos basically is I like things to be as they are. I can use things to my advantage. You know, if there's something that's distasteful, in, like, say I'm taking a picture of a bird and there's a tree branch in the way or something, and I want to, you know, make that less obvious, I'll remove it. But for the most part, I like things to be as they are. And the only thing I'll admit to doing is I jack up the colors because I really like vibrant colors. So I'll make things more saturated. But other than that, I really don't play around too much with the wonderful technology that's out there. I think that's why I had such a hard time moving from regular film to digital, is because I that my mindset was I had to think everything through before I took that photo. And digital, it's kind of like, all right, you can take it, and if you mess it up, you can just redo it. But you know, hopefully that answered the question. Is basically no, I don't like to use a lot of the technology.
And got a lot of good comments on the strawberry. Lonnie says she wants to draw the strawberry.
Oh, cool.
And loves the cutouts. There was a question. People love the fridge gallery. Can you explain what an art print is? You were showing us in the book of your art prints.
Yeah, I get them printed from a, you know, one of the places. Shutterfly basically does my work, like, for that, and it's just on cardstock, but it can be frameable, and it looks really nice framed. It's just my touch, you know. I don't. I like to think out of the box, and that's part of it. Is I look for different things. I don't like to do just straight photography. I like to embellish it in different ways, either with color or different shapes and things to make it more interesting.
And Karen had another question too about any advice for someone that wants to try their hand at photography, for someone that's a real beginner. You know, what would you recommend?
Patience. Really, it does. It takes a lot of patience sometimes. There's been times where I have sat waiting for a specific, in a specific place where I know the birds or whatever are, to land on a branch. And sometimes I'll sit there an hour and wait for something to happen. I have a photo that's hanging in one of the big photos that's hanging in my house, that the man waited 3 hours to get a picture of this lynx. And it was there on this log. And he said he turned around and that was the minute he caught the photo. So it's patience, a lot of patience.
And it sounds like from your experience, you had a mentor that, you know, helped you develop your craft, and you looked to your father as well, you know, growing up with those photos, and also that you're really inspired by nature too.
Absolutely. That's my favorite. I've done a lot of different types of photography. I've been a wedding photographer. I was actually an assistant for someone for a while, and by far, I gravitate so much more towards nature, and it just settles my soul.
And wow, lots of great comments, really positive and supportive. And here's another question from Lonnie. Michelle, can you just tell us a little bit about your children's book, and are you thinking about submitting it this year? She's so excited for you.
Yeah, Lonnie's gonna be sorry she said that. Lonnie, I'm trying to work with Lonnie. Actually, we've talked about her illustrating the book, and I would absolutely love it. It is actually about these things, these insects or characters that people don't usually like. My main character is actually a cockroach. Obviously, I got that from my work, and it's a really great story. And the premise behind it was it's a kind of like a getting in a situation where you can't go back, so you got to move forward. But it's really delightful. It's just really, I don't know. I really like the characters. There are things that like spiders and things like that people don't normally like, and there's things that we have to come into agreement with, and we can make friends with them, no matter who they are. So it's I don't know. I didn't really want to get into the writing part of it, but all right, Lonnie, you did it. But it's really, I'm really excited about it. I'm trying to now look for some publishers. If not, I'll do it myself. I'll do a self-publishing. Since I've never done it, I'm kind of apprehensive. I'm kind of nervous, and all that. This is my baby, so yeah, I'm gonna need some help with it. Any of you out there that are well versed in it, I'm more than willing to take some cues. Thanks, Lonnie. We'll be talking.
Yeah. Yes, thanks, Lonnie, for asking the question too, and drawing out a little bit more about your children's book, Michelle. And I would just say also maybe before we close out that you've been such an integral member of our Building Bridges group from the beginning, and it's just been really wonderful to work together and to see your growth and to learn more about your photography and more about who you are, and just so grateful to have you as a real leader in the Building Bridges program.
Well, thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Well, thanks so much, Michelle, for joining us today and for sharing your photos and the stories that accompany them and what inspires you. I know it's been inspiring for me and for others. And actually one of the last comments in here from Lonnie is how inspiring that is, and to thank you. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today for this session. And we are going to have another session this evening at 8 p.m. And that's with Lisa Korpieski and Sarah Jarman. And they're going to be showing us some gel prints and demystifying the gel print process with some really neat and creative examples. And then we'll follow that with fireworks that Michelle recorded for us. And we'll have our ceremonial reading of all the names of the people who've contributed art and their work to this showcase. So we hope you can join us this evening at 8. And just another special thanks to Lisa for co-hosting today. And of course, big thanks again to Michelle for joining us and sharing your photography and a little bit about your writing.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks so much.